Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order at 6:31. Kristen, don't be horrified. I am co-chair, but I don't usually administer the meeting. I lean on Liz for that. So good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody. It's been a little bit. I missed the last meeting, and I know that Kristen was welcomed at the last meeting, so we'll jump to that in a second. So kind of back to this remote meeting procedures in keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing, and under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. While conducting this meeting remotely, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. While board members, staff, town staff, participants, and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the meeting muted with no video feed from them. Public lines will be muted throughout the meeting to allow the board to conduct business and eliminate background noise. All votes will be by roll call. The chair reserves the right to discard comments submitted that are off topic. But if you do have questions, you can go ahead and use the chat feature. Please be sure to include your full name and your address for public record. Okay, is that good enough, Craig?
That's beautiful. Good job.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. So now do I need to take roll?
People can introduce themselves. That way you know you have a quorum.
All right, let's start there. Do you want to go first, Craig?
Yeah, Craig Barger.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Stephanie Contab.
Kristen?
And Kristen Hay.
Catherine?
Foster.
Allie?
Allison or Julie.
Irene?
Irene Dean.
Amy?
Amy Gershman.
And Beth?
Beth Devonshire, sorry. My mute would have come up.
And you went back on really quick. Okay, so all right, we're calling the meeting to order, and we have everybody here. As I mentioned, Liz will be joining in a few minutes, so I'll just go ahead and get us started. Review and approve minutes. Kelly was kind enough to go ahead and get those in distribution. Anybody have any comments or updates on the meeting minutes?
I make a motion
Okay.
to approve the March 2nd, 2021 minutes.
Second.
Do I have to go vote by vote,
Roll call.
Craig? Roll call. Okay.
Marjorie, yes.
Craig?
Yep. Marjorie, yes.
Stephanie?
Contab, yes.
Kristen?
And Kristen, yes. Or Hay, yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Or Julie?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Gershman?
Gershman, yes.
Devonshire?
Yes.
Okay, meeting minutes have been approved for, and we can move forward. Civil Rights Officer update is the next item on our agenda today, and I do have an update for you. Let me just pull that up real quick. Okay. So, Matt Badood, he actually did reach out to us on March 3rd and let us know that he'll no longer be serving as the Easton Civil Rights Officer. Liz went ahead and reached out on March 18th to Gary Sullivan to find out what the position, where the position stands at that point. And Chief Gary Sullivan did respond back on the same day and let us know that the position was posted internally with no interest at this time, and we'll continue to kind of keep the position open until it is filled. No additional updates since that time frame, but did note that that they are actively pursuing to fill the role. Any questions around the civil rights officer position?
No, is there a financial incentive to assume that role?
He did not indicate that. Liz had asked whether or not the position was a required position. And apparently, I guess maybe based on Governor Baker's task force on hate crimes back in 2018, police departments were asked to designate at least one officer as a point person on hate crimes. That's pretty much the only kind of exchange or additional questions we had beyond whether or not the role had been posted and if it was filled at that point. But it does seem like it's a common position across many towns. And actually, I mean, that might be just interesting to understand, and I'll provide an update around the Mass Coalition of Human Rights committees throughout Massachusetts that I've been coordinating with. I could go ahead and ask, even maybe just to see what type of role the civil rights officer plays. So I think I'll just kind of take that as a note and start to understand that a little bit more as we, have a new person kind of coming to fill this position at some point. It would be good to kind of get that information and have it handy. Any other questions around the civil rights officer? Okay. April listening session update. Who wants to go ahead and provide that?
I can kind of give a rundown, and then anyone who wants to chime in, please, Stephanie, Irene. We've made progress. There's a little ways to go. Let me just get my notes. So we narrowed the topic down to physical disabilities, so either physical or medical disabilities. I know we had discussed different options like mental health, special needs, but this is kind of where we landed. Goals are to just raise awareness and promote inclusivity. We thought we'd nailed down a date, but we're having a little bit of trouble finding something that works for everyone. So the first date proposed was April 29th, which is a Thursday night. And then now one of the people that we were hoping to have as a speaker can't do that day. So we're thinking about the Monday of that week. TBD, unless I honestly, I just finished work and I didn't check my email. So if there's any updates, let me know. So we're going to follow the same format. We hope to have like a 15-20 minute educational component at the beginning. The speaker is Ann Todd, somebody that Beth connected us with. Unfortunately, she's the one with the date conflict, so TBD. I think there are some options there. Like I said, she's free on Monday. She also volunteered to put a presentation together and have Beth present it. Surprise, Beth. But we'll figure it out. We connected with the Easton Commission on Disability, and the person that had reached out to us, Maya, has been incredibly helpful. She's helped us make some connections. Right now we have 2 speakers. She's one of them. And then she and this other gentleman that we were talking with, he'll be another speaker, and they both have lots of connections. So they're looking for 2 more speakers. The only criteria are physical disability and something to share there, and then also being close to Easton, and then we did ask them to try to find a broad range of perspectives. We shared a little bit about what we were looking for speeches. We agreed on having a dry run the week before. We've drafted the flyer, but we're getting input from everybody. HRC will do the same kind of intro slides that we did for the last session. Maya already provided us, actually the Commission on Disabilities has a really good list of resources on the town website, so we'll link to that. For promotion, we're going to do our usual allies like the Y, the library, town crier, hopefully maybe some town social, personal social channels, Wicked Local, Enterprise, and then Maya recommended the Lions Club and also the Council on Aging. So that's our list of people to help promote. We have another meeting tomorrow evening, I think at 7 o'clock, to share progress with each other. So 2 of the speakers will be there, and then the subcommittee. So we'll have another update then if anyone wants to join. We really have to get it tied together soon though to start promoting, because it's already, April.
Amy, am I adding Anne on that for the tomorrow night's meeting? I wasn't sure on that. I send out.
I didn't ask her to come yet.
I just wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure what we wanted to do. I wanted to have our story straight.
Okay.
Anything else from committee members on? Oh, go ahead.
My only comment was, it's also, I thought, really interesting to have a family perspective. So even if you didn't have somebody who had a physical disability, but someone who was a parent or whatever, that they bring a different perspective to what that looks like.
That's great feedback.
I like that the speakers who are speaking with personal experience too really wanted to focus on how, from their perspective, how to be a good ally to support them. I liked that was kind of their focus, and wanted to be able to present that awareness to the community of how the community can support them. So should be good.
Stephanie and Irene, do we want to talk about dates right now? I again, I don't know if there's an update by email or what we think we should do.
Do we want to try to present it for the 26th then to the group tomorrow, if that's what Anne can do?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
But Stephanie, you can't go.
That's why I'm looking at my calendar. You probably know my schedule better than me. Let me look.
26th of April is a select board meeting. It's the first meeting of our process, so that nobody from the select board will be able to participate, just so you'll be aware of that.
What time is that meeting, Craig?
6 o'clock.
6, okay.
And you're right, I do have, that's our next book club listening session for RMK too, with the next podcast, so that, you're right. Thank you for letting me know my schedule.
No, I didn't know that, but I did, I thought you said you had to work that. I thought that was Monday night.
I do work till 7 those nights, but then we plan that too. So I don't know. Is Mondays generally good for her? Is that what
Her daughter is on a travel soccer team. So usually Thursdays and Fridays are when they're traveling. So I talk to her every day. She's like, honestly, if it's the hold up, if no hard feelings, I have a couple other folks I could probably throw into the mix. That would be fine. If you want, I can reach out to them too, just as a backup.
Are we wedded to in April? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we're on the same wavelength, Craig. You could go into the following week. I mean, I don't think it's a disaster to do that.
Okay. Yeah, totally valid option.
Not that we wouldn't want to see Beth running the show, but
I am fine not to.
So why don't we see? Well, Stephanie, maybe we can talk offline, but I think we have a few options.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can chat tomorrow night in our meeting and see what their availability is too that following week. If it still works for Brian and Maya, then maybe we can try to see if that would also work for Anne as well.
Okay, I can shoot her an email and see if she has any dates the next week free.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and if she wants to join in tomorrow night, I can send her the link.
Okay.
Too.
I'll email her tonight.
Yeah. Perfect.
Excuse me, but we should make note that Liz Bornstein has joined the meeting. For your records, Kelly.
Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Craig.
Hey, Liz.
Okay. It sounds like we're wrapped for the listening session. Oh, the only other thing I was going to bring up was based on the survey responses that we received from the gender identity session that we had, any kind of best practices that we wanted to mention or bring forward for this next one?
I think one of the things would be to be a little more transparent about the question and answer. Just make it more clear upfront that that was happening at the end. Just whatever process we land on as far as Q&A goes, be very clear about that. I think probably the other feedback is that we're shooting for one less one less speaker just for length.
Okay. And was that because we stayed within the time frame, Amy? Was it really just that it didn't allow for enough time for Q&A?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
It was, in my opinion, it was very successful. But yeah, just to give everybody a little more breathing room, I think, and time to speak.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on to our next agenda topic. It is Rise Up for Humanity update. I think that might be me. So Amy and I met, and based on the generous ECC grants, we were able to order a pretty good amount of cutout stickers with a kind of target audience of students. Oh, look at that. We even have display from Amy. Thank you. The square ones are the decals. We're hoping that that's going to go to the businesses. And then we also have a roll of stickers, which is what we said we could possibly give out during, maybe our next NRT event or something like that. So a pretty good variety and a huge volume. So we're pretty excited about that. Beth, I was thinking maybe what we could do is get a handful of those or a good amount of those cutout stickers and maybe provide them to Ms. Shea over at the high school. What do you think of that?
I think she'd love it. Especially,
Okay, awesome.
we at least need to make sure that the students who submitted them would get them too, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Amy, you and I maybe can kind of coordinate that piece of it, at least to kind of get them out to the students first. I don't know, Stephanie, where are we with the proclamation? Is that, yeah.
So we've been meeting weekly on that. It seems like a little bit slow process. I'm not quite sure when they're thinking it's going to roll out, but a lot of the steps so far, I'm on the writing part of it, is kind of pulling in other, just for like, to have some reference, looking at different states or different towns, like Bridgewater, Arlington, different places that have already put similar proclamations out to see some of the language, see some of what we can pull from it. So it's still just kind of in that process of pulling it all together. I don't really know what the time frame or timeline is. Like I said, we're doing it weekly, but it just seems a bit slow.
Okay, so there's no specific end date or kind of.
Initially, they were thinking April, but I don't personally think that that's realistic at this point. So I just kind of keep joining weekly, and then there's conversations around. We're still kind of getting through each point of it, and it seems a little bit of a slower process. But it seems like maybe there's some confusion or question around if HRC is going to support it or what the plan is for that. It seemed like to me we were hopeful to have it coincide similar to the stickers in that piece, but I'm not sure that I don't know if there's some confusion on their end about whether or not it's something that's going to be supported or put out in addition to with the HRC. I don't know if anybody has any clarification on that, or if there's been any other conversations that have been had around that piece of it. But
yeah, I mean, definitely supportive. I mean, that's why we kind of wanted you to have kind of a presence on that proclamation kind of a creation. So absolutely in support of the initiative. And I think, we did have a conversation with Kelly and Denise and talk through, just that our HRC is focused on many topics of human rights. right? And not just solely on race. And
Yep.
if the proclamation was going to have a sole focus on race, then potentially, it wouldn't necessarily coincide with our sticker campaign, because our sticker campaign is about inclusion across, right, multiple different topics, and so I think maybe that's where potentially
that makes
maybe
sense
there's
now.
a slight disconnect. So I guess it depends on what the theme of the proclamation ends up kind of being, but regardless, it's still a message
Yeah,
of
it's
positivity
strictly
that
on,
we absolutely want to
absolutely.
support.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
strictly on racial injustice and how to
Okay.
move the town forward with that. So it's strictly on race.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
I
yeah, I mean,
explained
I
that
think
too. That our mission's
Okay.
broader, and and I wasn't quite sure how that would, because they weren't sure, like the language they were using around supporting it or coinciding, and I wasn't quite sure if there was other conversations around that. But what you're saying makes sense.
Okay. Okay, Liz, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to add there at all.
No, I think you covered it well, but Steph, maybe just remind them procedurally that our committee would need to review it and vote on it and approve it. So depending on how close they are to our monthly meetings, that might change the time frame.
Yep. Okay. I did say that we would have to review it. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I
Okay.
guess at this point, if there's something we could review by the May meeting, that would be a good goal. So it's not dragging into June, maybe for
I agree.
execution.
Sure.
It seems to me like that we should just attach our mission to the sticker. That's what if you're showing this sticker, that means you're supporting our mission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, as we're not going to hold off on distribution of the stickers, and right, like we want to be able to move that forward. It would have been great to kind of coincide with the proclamation, but now that, it's been a few months, right? We ran the campaign in December. We were able to award it, I think was it February or timeframe, right? And now that we've ordered them, we would like to get them in distribution. I think we also said too, we can definitely do kind of a soft launch, right? Kind of get them out there, get them in the community. And then we could, as traffic and people start to engage again, and we're able to kind of interact more, we would be able to do maybe a more formal launch at some point. But for right now, I think, sharing it, especially with the high school students, and starting to kind of maybe even circulate across, businesses that we work really closely with, like some of our partner organizations like the Y or the library or places like that. I think that would be a great start for us. Or even asking our allies if they have interest in getting a hold of some of them. Again, I think, if we could just try to spread the word now, even with kind of a soft launch, as I mentioned, it will at least kind of keep the momentum going. And then maybe once the proclamation does come through, we can also kind of partner up there as well. Any thoughts around that?
I love the
Chamber,
idea. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Craig.
let the Chamber of Commerce know that the stickers are available? Or are we waiting for the proclamation for that?
So Stephanie, there is a Chamber of Commerce component of the proclamation, correct?
Yes, that will be part of what they're doing too. But I mean, doesn't mean that we separately can't, kind of make them aware of the stickers too. I mean, I reached out to Karen Newman, who's one of the program directors over there too. I think that's what she does over there. But she's more than happy to get on board with any ways to assist either of the missions. So even if it didn't coincide together, I think that she would happily support distribution of those stickers and vinyls too.
It seems to me like we need a plan to sort of figure out the distribution. And
Also, oh, sorry, Kathy. There's also no logo on the stickers or the clings. So it's not that I like think it should be all about promoting the HRC, but just to have something to connect them to the HRC and to the contest. I think we should think that through. They're awesome on their own, but if you walk into the Y and say they've got stickers out and somebody takes one, they're not necessarily going to make a connection to the HRC.
Or even to what it means.
Mm-hmm.
How do we address that, Amy?
I like the idea of attaching it to our charge if we don't have the proclamation ready. We could update it with the logo, the new logo. I'm not sure. I don't have any other ideas off the top of my head.
That makes sense to me.
Should we form like a subcommittee to sort of work on figuring out how to distribute the?
That's a great idea. Any interest from team members on participation in that subcommittee?
Everybody jump at the same time.
I could help you out, Kathy.
I'll help out too. I'm on every
Okay.
subcommittee.
Why not?
I know, I think I'm on every subcommittee for here, RMK, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
But I'll do it, I don't mind.
I have the stickers in my possession, so I should probably be on the subcommittee.
Good plan. All right.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie, Kathy, and Amy. Thank you.
And we didn't get
okay,
any
so
car
we'll-
magnets?
The clings
The
are vinyl and they will stick to any window.
Perfect.
And they work either way. Like they're reversible.
I want to go around town and see them on every car.
I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably get in trouble. I already have a sticker on my computer and a cling on my door. So just saying.
I was gonna say, can we get some?
Yes. Yeah, anyone who wants one, let me know. I'll get it to you.
Yeah, and so in the meantime, I think distributing a bunch to the high school would be great, at least to Kristen Shea, who kind of supported this initiative with us. I don't think we need to hold back on that. She was instrumental in terms of getting us to get to the artwork, and then also with the publicity throughout the school. So let's kind of not hesitate there. And Amy, I can connect with you and get them to Kristen or whoever may have a contact with her directly. We can get them out to her sooner than later. And then yes, I think
I'm happy to run them over to to put a name with a face. I emailed her a bunch of times, so happy to make a personal connection.
Perfect.
Just let
Thank
me
you,
know
Beth.
how many and I'll get them to you, Beth.
Okay, and then the subcommittee to kind of plan out for the remainder of the distribution. Perfect. Do we need to vote on that subcommittee, or are we good with that piece? No voting. Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on to the next agenda topic, it is the Massachusetts HRC Coalition. So actually, Amy and I connected. Did we already share that update, Amy? I'm like losing track. We connected with the Belmont. Yeah, maybe not. Okay. So Amy and I actually connected with the Belmont chair of their HRC, because I shared the gender identity resources that Amy pulled together. I just thought that they were just so well done and so comprehensive. And the session went so well with our listening session that I wanted to share that with the rest of the HRCs that I interact with. So I kind of shared it with the group and got some good responses back. One in particular had asked to learn more about the session and how it was organized. And so Amy kindly agreed we had a quick conference call and talked that through. And then since then, the topic so that was, I think, February or so, right? February, March timeframe or so. I would say over the last 3 weeks, the Massachusetts kind of coalition for these HRCs, we've had a really good amount of exchange just through emails, particularly around the Asian American Pacific Islander hate crimes that have been happening throughout the country. We had talked about putting out statements as committee members, for each of our HRCs, what that entailed, and thanks to Irene and Beth, who kind of and Allie, who pulled together our statement for the Easton HRC for our, what we wanted to say around the hate crimes there. I did share that with the rest of the HRCs that I've been interacting with. And actually that kind of caused some really good conversation in terms of what, statements were going to be put out by these HRCs, how quickly they can get them out, and what topics they wanted to cover. I'm not sure if everybody got to see our statement or not, but the way in which it was organized, we talked about kind of history of Asian American Pacific Islander hate and xenophobia, and some of the challenges that we've had just from a historical standpoint. And then there was also a really good amount of effort focused on resources, learning more. And the focus, I think, was really about educating yourself. And Beth was able to provide a really good amount of resources there that we wanted to share with the community. And then one of the HRCs actually went ahead and started to compile the statements that each of the HRCs were pulling together that had shared kind of across the group. So I did share that with the committee members last night or the night before, just to kind of give you some visibility. But I thought it was good because it really allows us to kind of see how the HRCs organize their statements. I think we've talked about it in the past. A statement is a statement, but to really kind of put some emphasis around education, action, what can you do next is important to us. And some of the committees, I think most of them actually did a really good job with their messaging. So wanted to kind of get that in front of everyone and let you know that we're utilizing this format and this forum to try and gather those best practices and try and talk through how we can, as a larger community, start to think about, ways in which we want to communicate with our own towns and cities. I don't know if anybody has any questions around that effort or our statement or kind of the coordination with the other HRCs. Okay. That is my update.
The other thing I would say is I think that statement was great. And I think it was really, I think as you spoke about this, that the timeliness, you were swift, you got it out there, and it was meaningful. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think, so actually that did come up with the other HRCs. They asked, how were you able to be timely? So apparently some of the HRCs have to have approval for their messages that reach to the mayor level of their town. So that provides a challenge for them in terms of expediency in messaging. And then others wait for committee meetings to be able to have those conversations. I did share that we discussed, many, probably over a year ago, first of all, when we would provide a message, and we kind of all agreed on when we would and when we wouldn't, right? And maybe, Kristen, just to kind of give you a sense of how our communication kind of comes about is, we tried to use like a three-pronged approach, which is one, when do we actually want to make sure we provide a statement? Because, and the when is really kind of circulating around, does it impact our community directly, our community members? And that would be the kind of the criteria for yes, we would want to. The second would be that it would be kind of a designated team focused on communication. And so Irene and Allie had kind of our communication gurus in our team to kind of at least initiate that piece of it. So, being able to kind of designate focus for committee members so that we could have a point of contact to at least kind of get the communication initiated. And then we would have kind of a final review and sign off by our chair. And that's what we decided would be kind of the best practice for us going forward in terms of getting an approval and then feeling like we were able to be timely with that communication. I don't know if anybody has anything else to add there. Okay. Any questions on that before we move forward? All right. Library partnership for April book reading. Liz, is this one you?
Yeah, I can take this. So this was an email that I had forwarded that came from Uma Haramuth at the library. She's the director of the library in Easton. And she had been contacted by a woman who wrote a memoir about growing up as Muslim. And so she had approached the library to do a reading. Uma asked us if this was at all, our interest, our wheelhouse sort of thing. And in between all of these emails and
our meeting now, a date has already been set. So the library is doing an author's Zoom talk with this author on Tuesday, April 27th at 6 p.m. At this point, it's just, if we are added as a partner, the Human Rights Committee that's really all the ask is on our part, is, getting on the flyer and sharing the information with our ally list. So it would be up to the committee to see, is this something we want to be on board with? It seems like a relevant ask and almost like a very little effort, on our part sort of thing. We send an email out to the ally list, put it on the website.
We have asked the library to partner with us, so I think the reverse is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Liz, if you have details, I can put the event on our website if we want.
That would be great. I have no details at all, but I will tell Uma that we are happy to partner. She can put our information on the flyer, and then hopefully she can give us a copy of the flyer so we can both post it and distribute it.
I'll forward you the new logo too.
Woohoo! Awesome.
Anybody who doesn't know
Thank
Uma,
you.
she is a gem, an absolute
Yes.
gem. She
Yes.
was before the select board last night with the library budget. She's got so much enthusiasm and creativity. We have a gem, not only her, but the library is also a gem in this town.
Yes, and they've been an excellent partner to us for many of our initiatives. So absolutely. All right, excellent. Any other action items or items that the team members wanted to bring up today?
Stephanie, should you talk about the book club with RMK?
Yes, we had one meeting so far about it, and another one's going to be next week, but it's going to be another podcast. And we're just kind of deciding by a manual or two that we did a couple months back. So just trying to figure out which one will be the best one to kind of broadcast and then have some conversations afterwards. So it looks like it's going to be the 26th. They might be looking to do two. It might be the 26th and the 3rd, May 3rd. That's the dates they have it. Then they're going to be doing another series in July, which will be a book. And I think that book is Why Do All the Black Kids Sit Together in the Cafeteria? And then that will be like 3 weeks that month, like breaking up the chapters in July. So the next one's a podcast, likely a 2-night commitment, or if you just want to come to one, but conversations around that podcast that we'll watch, and then there'll be the book one in July. But it's still kind of early planning. We just had that first initial meeting trying to come up with the next steps and dates. So
You know if they need flyer help?
I think so. I think they
Okay.
said that they were going to be asking you.
Okay.
Yep. I think they said they were going to be chatting with you. Kelly said that.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Amy, that looks like that it's getting very crowded on that last week in April.
Yeah, that week's
Yeah.
pretty busy. I wonder if we should.
And the 3rd is that following Monday also.
Yep.
Just
Beth just connected me with a backup for the educational component speaker, and we can toss around all the ideas tomorrow and see where we land.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Just to review though, the 26th is the RMK.
Yes.
What was the date of the library thing? The
27th, I think.
27th.
Liz?
27th, yeah.
27th. Okay. Was there anything else that week?
Board of Selectmen meeting, 26th.
Okay. Yeah.
Select board.
It does make sense to move it to another week. Just because the April 19th, that week is, we can't really go before that because that's April vacation. So it does make sense if we can pick another week after that April 26th week.
Stephanie, have they decided it was going to be a 2-week thing for the discussion? Yeah.
I think that's where they were leaning towards and landing. For the podcast and deciding whether or not it was going to be 1 or 2 podcasts that we'd be listening to.
I
May
think
is mental health.
these are just lots of good opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, like we're
Can't commit
not
to it
we're
all.
partnering necessarily, not spearheading either of these. So I think it's just a plethora.
And then of course, is our meeting the 3rd?
The 4th.
Tuesday night. Yep, the 4th.
The 4th, okay.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'd say we could push it to May, but then I'd almost want to incorporate that piece of it too within. So I don't know. I might be opening up a can of worms with that one, but just to be aware. Mental Health Awareness Month.
Can we flip it? Can we pull off mental health first? Push back physical disabilities?
Do whatever you want.
It's Scotty.
And well, we could talk about it more tomorrow, but maybe we keep the 2 speakers we have presently, and then maybe add a speaker that can bring the mental health piece to it and kind of combine it all into one. I don't know. We can talk more.
Okay.
We also appoint the group that's going to do the sexual identity or June or whenever. Now,
So-
because it took a while to get that organized.
Oh, we already had a group.
I think Michelle said she was going to help with that, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we did 2 meetings ago, start to try to accumulate names there. We can go back to our meeting minutes and see.
It's in the minutes somewhere because I'm on the subcommittee.
And I'm
I'm
happy
positive
to help.
Amy's on it.
Of course you are.
I'm happy to work on it also.
As well. Okay, excellent. Any other action items or topics?
Well, I have a segue to public participation. So a couple things that came up. One, there is a new contact at the Brockton Enterprise who covers social justice and human rights issues in Brockton, Easton, and other towns. So the woman's name is Catherine Knoll. So that's just good for all of us to have on our radar for publicity. I invited her to come to our meeting, but she might not have been able to tonight. So that's good that they have sort of a designated contact on that. Next time we want to highlight something, I think we should reach out to her directly. She's already on our ally list, so she would get that information through there, but she might like
The last name, Liz?
Noel, Catherine with a K. And then the other public participation part. So we received an email from Tim Garland, who's at Good Shepherd Presbyterian Church, which is right on Route 123, near where several of us walk. I'm looking for his original email. So he had reached out to us because their church is heavily involved in a lot of social justice issues. He had seen an article about us in Wicked Local. And so he really wanted to talk about how the church could possibly partner with us for events or topics where we shared an interest. Their church has, he says, 60% of their members coming from Cameroon, about 40% born in the US. They do a lot of immigration advocacy, it sounds like, so support for asylum seekers and immigrants, as well as taking actions to dismantle structural racism and to eradicate systemic poverty. And members of their congregation are really in a bunch of surrounding towns, so not just Easton, but Brockton, Stoughton, Sharon, Mansfield, Foxborough, Taunton, North Attleboro. So that's pretty much a good radius from where we are right here. So he also had intended to come tonight, and I think just had some confusion with the Zoom link, but that is another community partner to keep in mind.
That's the Good Shepherd
Yep.
Fellowship?
Yep.
You
Yeah,
hooked
I
them
thought
up
that was
with
a-
Masa yet?
Say that again.
You hooked them up with Masa yet?
I have not. I was waiting to meet Tim first.
I was glad you invited him, and I think you should extend it. Maybe he can come next time. It'd be
Yeah.
great to talk to him.
Yeah. So hopefully we can make next month work, and I'll extend it again to Catherine if there's anything she wants.
Excellent. Anything else from the committee?
One other thing that's really not public participation, but it is public participation, and that is that the town election is April 24th. That's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the high school. And you may or may not be aware that two of my colleagues decided that they were not going to run again for select board, Tom Broussard and Chuck King. And two young members of the community who are currently on the finance committee, Jennifer Stacy and Jamie Stebbins, are on the ballot for the select board. I would urge you all to check them out. Two incredibly invested, intelligent activists in the town that I'm very excited about. So check them out, Jamie Stebbins and Jennifer Stacy.
Ditto. They're great candidates.
Okay. No public participation. I don't see anyone else in the Zoom. So I think that's it for today, unless anyone else disagrees. Okay.
Did a good job,
now
Karen.
what?
This
Yeah?
might come late a lot more now.
I actually am going to be late for the next
She
3
is going
months.
to be.
So
So Craig, don't be late because I need you. Okay. Okay, we're gonna call a meeting to close. Can somebody want to second that?
Close the meeting?
second.
Okay. Do I have to vote on this? No, right? Everybody vote? Yeah? Okay, all right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all, Karen. Take care.
Bye, everybody.